TikTok. Should be going live on YouTube. Let me hop over, make sure Reason and Rebellion is showing up. It is showing up as live. Let me check, make sure my setting. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Is it let me. Are we still hearing an echo?
I don't hear an echo, but I also don't hear you.
There we go. That should be
I can hear you.
working.
Yep. Now we're good.
Okay. Let me hop over here to
Oh,
YouTube.
there's a massive echo now.
Let me. Did that fix it?
Maybe.
That should hopefully fix it so there's no echo. Let me check here. Okay, I don't hear myself echoing. So real quick, over on YouTube or on TikTok, do you guys hear me echoing, or when Jaren talks, are you going to hear Jaren talk?
It was my bad. It was just I had the YouTube playing the sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Stella Rosa.
So yes. So yeah, tonight is going to be Your God is Imaginary. And I'm going to get a background made up. Maybe the fourth one moving on after this. The fourth one will be our kooky one. So that'll be conspiracy theories, stuff like that. So the last Thursday of the month will be like conspiracy theories and stuff.
That'll be fun.
All right, and we sound good on YouTube. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. So yeah, let's start tapping that screen, sharing the live. Let's get this out on the FYP. We definitely want to get in some debates. Hopefully we'll get Reason and Rebellion will start taking off on YouTube. I don't know why it doesn't. It's weird, it's goofy.
Not sure.
But yeah, topic tonight though is Your God is Imaginary. If you disagree, hop in the box. We would love to chat with you about it. Tell you why you're wrong.
Yep, come on up. There is a tinyurl.com. That is how we talk to people on both YouTube and TikTok. So you just go to that link. You do not have to show your video or anything like that. You don't have to show your face or anything. You don't have to turn on your camera. Just hop on and we can chat.
And the nice thing about this is, if we think you're ugly, we turn on your camera off for you anyways.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so how's your day been today?
Not great. Not great. The Stars got kicked out of the playoffs and the Pacers lost, but the Pacers are still up 3-2. It's
fine. Oh, it's a full bottle type day. It's a full.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We got Washman CA saying Stars played great over on TikTok.
Yeah. No, they did not.
So earlier today, so after you got off, I was hopping around, and normally I'm not one to go into theist lives unless they are like somebody else that we know is already in there trying to battle it out with them. But I just strolled through one and it was, this guy that was just doing he considers TikTok his second church, and he's considering himself like a self preacher, He's like, I'm not really a preacher, but I'm just here, spreading the good word, one of those type things. And but he was just answering questions from the chat. And I'm like, well, would you mind having a debate? He's like, well, normally I don't, but you know what? I'll do it. I'm about to get off. I'll do it here. And so I was running him through the thing of the crucifixion is not necessary. Necessary meaning it could not be any other way. Like this is how it has to be, because God is all powerful, and all powerful beings, by definition, do not have constraints, so they can do whatever they want. So, the crucifixion is just a whim. It's theatrics. It's God just picked that to gaslight us into feeling guilty when we try to leave. And as soon as I brought that up, and he's like, "Wait, what do you sound like?" He's an all-powerful being. He could have chosen something different. He just dropped me. I'm like, "Oh, you just don't want to you just don't want to engage."
That's a weird. I mean, yeah, it is a bit of a cop out just to say, oh well, he's basically what you're doing is you're not only introducing magic, you're introducing magic without any limits, because that's the one thing that So, full disclosure, Matthew and I, we tried to write, or we didn't try to write, but we started to write a book years before Christ Before Jesus, and it was a book about it was actually like a historical fantasy book that like was almost like almost like a prequel to Joseph Smith's story. That was the book, and the setting of the book was like rural upstate New York in the early 1800s. And the idea was there were these people who were basically treasure hunters, like Joseph Smith and his dad were. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to allow for magic to be something that is possible in this world, if you will. And the issue that we very quickly ran into was limiting the magic. That was the idea that was the problem that we kept running into. Because when you allow for supernatural elements to exist within a story or an argument or a conversation, there's either got to be parameters or there's no parameters at all. And I feel like the whole concept of, oh, God is so like he's an all powerful being, which means he can do anything and everything whenever he wants. At that point, there's no use having a conversation with that person anymore. They're
Mhm.
completely off the rails, and anything that they say can just automatically win because they've created an unfalsifiable claim and magic exists in their minds. It's like, okay, you have now shown me that you just are out of touch completely with reality as we know it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and it's one thing too, like it'd be one thing if like we had this so if I was to be a theist, if I was to ever become religious again, um if I was to follow the Christian God, like if Jesus appeared to me, like apparated out of nowhere and was there and said, "Hey, I'm him." A lot of people like to try to say, "Yeah, I'd still give him the middle finger." You don't know that. If this actually happened, you actually don't know what would happen. You've never experienced anything like that, so you don't know what you would do. I would imagine, like, if I was to say, "You know what? I'm gonna follow you," I think I'd be a Calvinist. I think Calvinism, is probably the most honest when it comes to Christianity. But let's say Christ never appeared to me and something convinced me to be religious. I'd probably be a deist. The idea that there's a God who uh, went around, created the universe, and then walked away throwing up middle fingers saying, "Fuck y'all, you're on your own."
See ya.
Um,
Peace.
that'd probably be the deity that I would follow because um, that would fit in with the naturalistic world that we see. Um, and he just doesn't care. Now again, because I believe the universe has always existed, I don't have that still added baggage to a a naturalistic view because of Occam's razor. But that's probably the belief I would go if I did believe in something.
That makes sense. Uh, yeah, they're in the chat. Joshua, they're on TikTok. Come on up. We'll have a
Yeah.
conversation if you like.
Yep, links right here, tinyurl.com, R&R guest. Type that into your web browser, we'll bring you up. You'll pop up in a box. Man, doing this way is you'll be in a box right there below us. You'll be below us.
Uh, let's
So give that a
see.
type. We'll bring you up. We'd love to chat with you.
Oh yeah, just come on up, tinyurl.com/rnr guest. The good, the bad, the ugly over on YouTube says they talk Jesus and play church, but do not live it. They claim to be Christians and then live like the devil. They have brought the great lie from Satan, who tells them that they are all right. They have bought the great lie. I'm not really sure what. I'm not really sure who that's talking about.
I think he's siding with. I think what he's saying is because it is true. So there's like two types of like main Christians that you're gonna get. You're gonna get the Christians that are like, hey, we have been saved, but in order to show your faith, to show your conversion, you have to strive to be good, right? So you still have to, faith and works. Your faith is gonna force your works. Then there's the other side that says, no, 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 you can't earn your way into heaven. We don't care about works at all. Once you're born again, you're born again. And essentially, sin doesn't exist anymore. You're going to heaven regardless. And those are the Christians that I think he's talking about. Are the Christians who are like, no, I can do what I want because I'm saved.
Whatever, I do what I want. Um,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. There is a very interesting thing within a lot of um, more modern Protestants. That is the concept of annihilationism, where more or less uh, there's not really hell per se. Like, either you're with God or you die. Like, you just
Hmm.
you go away. So you either go to heaven or you just cease to exist.
So that's like the thing with the lake of fire, right? So the
Yeah.
way the lake
Well,
of
I mean, they're
fire is,
reading into that and they're realizing that the
Mhm.
lake of fire is kind of a all that hell stuff isn't really part of the Bible, like all that fire and brimstone kind of stuff. So they just kind of go a
Yeah.
different direction. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's like and I think that comes off the lake of because the idea of the lake of fire is you're put in the lake of fire and it destroys you, right? That's where the like nihilism comes from. And Joycia, faith without works is dead. Is That's what something my wife used to always say as well. My ex-wife would always say as well as faith without works is dead. And one time her and I were talking, and I was trying to have her explain exaltationism that the Mormon church believes. So in the Mormon church, they believe that if you make it to, I believe they call it the celestial kingdom, and the celestial kingdom is broken down to a group of different groups itself, and you make it into the highest group of the celestial kingdom, you become exalted and you become gods. And so she would also have another saying, like the way she explained it to me was, um, as God now is, or sorry, as man now is, God once was, as God now is, man may become. And then when I pressed her on, that's polytheism. I mean, it goes into like henotheism, but I'm like, that's polytheism. Like you believe there's a bunch of gods hanging out there in the ether.
No, it's not polytheism because we don't call it polytheism.
Right.
That's basically what a lot of this is. I mean, same thing with just just general run of the mill Christianity. I mean, you believe in multiple gods, you just don't call them multiple gods. If you believe in the Trinity, multiple gods. If you believe in, if you're Mormon, multiple gods. If you believe in the saints, those are demigods. I mean, that's just how it works.
So
It's wild.
so something that I'm scared for my daughter when she does this, but I also appreciate that she does it. So in the Mormon faith, on the first Sunday, they do what's called like fast and testimony meeting. So the first Sunday they do this ridiculous fast, which is pointless because again, if it's within God's will, then God's going to do it. And your fasting means nothing. So you can fast for something. And if it wasn't already seen long ago by God that he was going to do it, your fast is meaningless. But they do this thing where you can get up and you can do what's called bear your testimony. Essentially, this is the church service that if you're investigating the church, this is the meeting the missionaries want you to go to, because it's where people are getting up and they're telling you their experience or giving you their anecdotal evidence. And my daughter, as you guys have heard me mention, is unapologetically Jewish. Um and every year for Passover, for Pesach for us, she will wait till the closest fast and testimony meeting to that, and she goes in because it's not like they check your ID or anything and make sure you got your Mormon card. Um, and she'll quickly be removed. They'll turn off the pulpit, but she'll go up there and she'll, start talking, and then she'll be like, I just would like to see a raise by hands here. How many people here have been, because again at age 16 they get what's called the patriarchal blessing, where they're told which of the tribes of Israel they're a member of, because they believe they are the lost tribes. And it'll usually go something along the lines of, I like to see a raise of hands here. How many people have been told they're a part of a house of Israel? And you'll see all the hands go up. She'll be like, can somebody please stand up and please explain to me why you are appropriating Jewish culture, and what have you done that makes you actually think you're actually Jewish? Can anybody? And then that's usually when the mic gets turned off and somebody
Jesus
from that's
Christ.
sitting up there like stands up and like tries to nicely escort her off the pulpit.
Jesus. That's I mean, that's pretty savage. Uh, but more power to her. I'm all for it. Joe, yes, I'm supposed to be requesting. I'm wanting to kind of hang out on mute on TikTok there as a guest. That'll just kind of help drive some people over
Oh
that
yeah,
direction.
yeah, 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 yeah. Let me should I should do that too. Hold on 1 minute. Let me go get.
Thank you, Joe. And I saw earlier, Joe, your lyrics, the burn, burn, burns, the wing of fire.
I fell into a yeah. And then let me get myself edited this as well. I am such a bad person. This I even not. Oh, maybe that's why, because I'm on the R channel. Right, I need to get off the R&R channel on my phone. Go back to cyber deconstruction. I'm also learning. So I am on cyber deconstruction. What am I doing? I've also been watching like a lot of these like corrupt cop videos, and I'm beginning to come to an understanding that there are probably a lot of those that are turning out to just be fake. Get my mic turned off real fast. There we go, so we don't get the echo there. That should bring some people in too. Also, if you do want to follow our channels, they're listed down there. Go give those a follow if you want to follow our personal accounts. And if you're over on um, YouTube, keep tapping that screen, sharing this out. If you have any Christian friends, send them a text message and be like, "Hey, you gotta watch this video that's going on right now on YouTube." Oh, we got 13 people in here today. We got 13 people in here
What is going on,
on
YouTube?
YouTube.
If you want to come up and have a conversation about what we're talking about, come on up, join the conversation. The tiny URL link is right above us. tinyurl.com/rnr guest. Just follow that link or put it into your browser there on your phone, and you can join us. That's perfectly fine. 10% yeehaw. What's going on?
And that's I was like, yeehaw. I'll tell you what, you don't know a yeehaw until you're riding a stud and a mare walks by.
Oh
You will
my
learn real
god.
fast what a yeehaw is.
Yeah. That is
What,
not
my
one.
account dropped? Where? Oh, it dropped because I went back to YouTube. That's why it dropped,
Uh,
because I went back to pay attention to YouTube. It's okay. It can. I'll try. Let me try to see if we can get that brought back up. Keep forgetting that I have to stay on the YouTube or on the keep it brought up because it's goofy that way. Mike likes to ride studs.
Is AZ Mike? Yeah, of course. There he is. AZ Mike. Oh my God. AZ Mike. I don't even. Yeah, AZ Mike. Gosh.
Well, so let me tell you. So when you are a part of like the LGBTQIA plus, and you're bisexual like me, or you're part of the GAY community, and you see like it's the women's night out because they got the guys coming, and you look at your partner and you're like, "Can I go with you?" And they're just glaring at you the whole time, like, "No."
uh, I mean, I would imagine that would be kind of tough.
But yeah, if you have a God that you believe in, though, hop on up. We'd definitely love to talk to you. In fact, I do have a bit of a confession to make.
Uh oh.
Despite what the persona of cyber deconstruction might be, it is the case that Nicholas is not a Doug worshiper. Turns out, this is just a rock that I stubbed my toe on, and I put googly eyes on it.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Larry Overstreet says AZ Mike is a national treasure.
No,
No
nope.
is
I
lying.
I I am not a Dougist. How did Thinker's Live get taken down?
What do you mean? Take what?
Looks like Thinker might have got be eating a can of beans for the next 24 hours.
I don't even know what that means. It just sounds absolutely ridiculous, and I love it.
It is because um TikTok is ridiculous with the things that we can't say, and oftentimes you can't necessarily say the banned word.
Oh, this is
Like using weird phraseologies, and you're like, why are you saying that? That's weird. That's goofy. Why are you doing that?
so. I've done some more digging on something that I was dealing with earlier.
Did we find out that Carrie has been taking home other people's dads? Because my dad would be devastated if he found that out.
No, 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 no. So it's possibly it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But there seems to be a huh. There seems to be some kind of inscription that is dated really, really early, like possibly even like into the first century BCE that mentions Christians.
Oh, and it's first century BCE.
Hmm. So
Ooh.
before, and it would be in Rome, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. We also have a bowl. There was no joke. There was a bowl that was discovered in Alexandria, Egypt. It was dated to the period from the late second century BCE to early first century CE, and it bears an engraving that reads "Through Christos," not Christ, but "Through Christos." Now, Christos is a personal name. It says, as well as an adjective meaning decent or useful. The inscription uh, probably means or it could mean given through kindness for magicians. It's a full phrase. It says given through kindness for magicians. Um,
You should send me these links.
oh yeah, but the Greek word inscribed is not Christos but Krestos, meaning kind, good, merciful, loving, that kind of thing. So we have the term itself being used earlier than and this is in Alexandria, which is pretty wild.
Well, what if it is a case? Because something that we've tossed about. What if it is the case that like maybe it's not a Serapis cult? Could be, probably, but could be. We don't know. But what if it is the case that maybe this name um is an honorific that is so you have a group of people that worship something, they're a mystery cult, right? So it's a mystery cult. But what if the leader of said mystery cult has just taken on this title, and essentially that's just kind of what they're known as?
It's definitely possible. All I know is that as far as like terms go, or as far as as far yeah, as far as terms go, like for Christians, that kind of thing. It seems as if it seems as if Rome was definitely aware of some group known as Christians. But when it came to Christians, like with Pliny, all of a sudden it just goes the opposite direction.
Makes sense.
And if that's the same group, it doesn't really line up much. It doesn't really line up much.
Yeah, real quick. So we have Prodigal Proof is asking about. He said, "Have you seen Richard Carrier's critique of CBJ?" So what we get from that is, in that critique, if you go read it, he doesn't actually bring up any points that is made in the book. He doesn't. He doesn't critique the book at all, right? So the book's not critiqued. In fact, he says like, "Hey, they can defend their argument, right? The argument, or sorry, the conclusion, they can defend it. His whole issue is that Jaren, and he doesn't even believe Matt exists. He doesn't even believe Matt exists. But his issue is that the authors, so Jaren and Matthew, the authors, his are not scholars. His point is they're not scholars, and he feels like they are not employing it properly, or if they, and he doesn't even necessarily go out as far as say they're not doing it properly. He says, here's my things are they're not scholars, which means one, they probably don't know how to run it, or two, they're running it properly, but they're grifting, right? Those are his two big points is they're not scholars, they don't have PhDs, so either they must be running it incorrectly or they're just grifting to make a quick buck. But he doesn't critique any of their points. He doesn't. Oh, and he critiques the way it was written. He's not a fan of the way it was written because, again, it's not. If you ever get a chance to read a scholarly source, if you read a scholarly book, you will be bored out of your mind, right? That was the bane of going to school to get degrees in theology is reading scholarly papers. They are boring. They are not fun to read. You've also got to be willing to, read like a small section of it and then go do some of your own research. So it's not like you can sit there and just enjoy like a good read. It's boring, it's daunting, it's long, it's not fun. Um, and so I think his issue is he's a scholar, and it's this book is not written like a scholarly text is, and I think he takes issue with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I mean, it makes sense that he would say something bad about that kind of stuff. It's fine, you know. He attacks us for basically not writing something scholarly, but writing something that like is for the general. That's what we wanted to do. That was our entire point, was to make something that people could just pick up and read, and we encouraged people to actually run the stellometry themselves. We don't want to be somebody from an ivory tower that just looks down on everyone else and says, "Hey, I'm going to gatekeep knowledge. I'm going to say that you have to be a scholar in order to do this, or say this, or speak about this." Or no, no, go check it out yourself. We all can. That's the point of having software in our studio on your computer. Like, you can do it. You don't have to be a scholar. That's the point. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's whenever we talk about how scholars like try their best to um gatekeep knowledge, and the reason why like Cyber and I, or so many people in the deconstruction community, will jump on any kind of argument from authority, or argument of, appeal to authority or something, and say, "Oh, that's just the appeal to the authority." This is the reason why. What Carrier did is the exact reason why we do not let the appeal to authority stand on its own. We don't.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
absolutely exhibit 1 or exhibit A, because that is, I mean, what he did was he basically looked at something and said, "These people are not what I think they should be. They don't present it the way I think they should. So therefore, I'm not going to actually say they're wrong, because they're not. And I also ultimately agree with their conclusion, but I'm still going to shit all over them instead of reaching out privately or anything like that. I'm going to use my power, my influence, my perceived authority to talk about something that I don't know that much about. And I admit that I haven't read, in order to shit all over some people who are passionate about the same thing I am." That's garbage, and he's an asshole.
In fact, so when I was working on my bachelor's degree, I wrote a paper. So I took um, a messianic prophecy class, and I wrote a paper. My like final paper for that class was on Isaiah 53 not being about Jesus. And keep in mind, Liberty is an evangelical college, and I'm Jewish going in there. And when I wrote that, I had one of my professors, the professor of that class, because when you do sign up for it, you do sign ecclesiastical endorsement, and he felt like I had violated that, and he wanted me kicked out of the school. Luckily, the school was like, "No, that's ridiculous." Um, they never published the paper. Normally, all those papers they'll go and publish on their site, but they didn't publish it. But he was pissed. He was pissed because again, it went against his narrative, and he didn't want it on because he's like, there are going to be people that are going to be coming to this college because it's an evangelical school, and they will see this paper on there, and they're going to question us. And luckily, he wasn't able to get me kicked out, but he tried.
That's on you, man. Like, if you're going to
Yeah.
be questioned, well, get ready for it.
Well, and I think the thing was because I got pulled in, they were talking to me about, they're like, hey, this is what's going on. And I think that once they got down to it, I think the dean of admissions was like, hey, if we kick him out, that's going to be viewed as extremely anti-Semitic. Like it is anti-Semitic if we kick him out for defending his beliefs. So they didn't kick me out. But
Let's see. Ecclesiastical endorsement sounds like a complicated way to say don't question it. Don't
mhm,
question. Don't question authority. That's just not what we do here.
yep. Well, to be fair, I had to. So I not only am I ethnically Jewish, who's religiously atheist, um, but I was having to mask as a Christian while I was there. So they knew I was ethnically Jewish. They're under the impression, though, that I was Christian. So when I put this out, they're like, "What the fuck? Stop the presses!" Oh, and for those who are asking, I know Mike did. So I forgot to grab my boxed wine. I completely spaced it off. So tonight I am drinking true to myself. We're drinking the Beast. It's Monster's alcoholic energy drink. So that's what I'm drinking with water. And Jaren's had turtles all the way down with bad news today, so he's just bottling up.
Oh, yeah. I've completely downed this bottle of Stella Rosa. Moscata de Asti. Yeah. I mean, look, the Stars got whooped and they're kicked out of the playoffs. The Pacers, they did not do too terribly great either. But we're going back to Indianapolis. We're going back to Indianapolis in a couple days. We'll get the job done over there. See, I'm really hoping that the Pacers make the finals because that would be the first time since I was 7 years old. Um, and I'd be able to watch them play in the finals. And the other team that's playing in the finals is from Oklahoma City. So I'm going to have to go up to Oklahoma City and watch a game. It's only 2.5 hours away from me. So I'll just be able to drive right up the
Nice, nice.
highway and watch a finals game.
Yep. So T Spell says these dudes believe Abraham wasn't real, hence there is no Israel, I suppose. So fun fact, the modern scholarship today, there's two lines of thought with the modern scholarship. Is you're gonna see one line that believes that there was like group because no scholar actually believes that Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, Moses, none of these people actually existed. They never existed. There's no evidence of them at all. If you do want to discuss it, hop in the box. We can bring you up. We'll hear your arguments. We'll listen. We'll talk to you about it. Again, link is up here, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Give that a type in your browser. Come on up and we'll talk to you about it. Um, so the two ideas, the two thoughts of scholarship are you had 12 wandering Canaanite tribes, and we have a change in metallurgy, and so they realize that strength in numbers is better. So they combine one of these possibly being a group of Midianites. As you know, in the story of Moses, Moses was literally saved by the Midianites. And it turns out that where Judea sets up is kind of where the Midianites were located at. Um, and we have even in the text it kind of suggests that there was a polytheistic nature to these Canaanites when they formed, and so they decided they're going to worship one god named Yahweh. um and then through some of them still wanting to maintain the Canaanite pantheon of being polytheistic, which is where we see right around Solomon, we see the great schism, the division, and we see, Israel going north, Judah staying in the south, and the kingdom of Israel, which went north, continued to be polytheistic. So that's one idea of thought. The next idea of thought is you have just Canaanites, they form these kingdoms. You have the Judeans, which are in Judah. We have the Israelites, which are up north. And again, kind of similar thing. We have the Assyrian invasion where the Israelites kind of have to flee. They go in, they mix with the Judeans. The Israelites were polytheistic. The Judeans probably had conquered the Midianites, had adopted Yahweh from the Midianites. And as they were merging, the Judeans were like, hey, we got to kind of mix cultures. And as they mixed cultures, that's where that happens. Then we get another split between them again. But this is kind of goes off of where like the documentary hypothesis comes from. It's kind of from this idea that there's groups of different people, and it's why like in the Torah, in Exodus, we get two different sets of 10 commandments. It's not the same set of 10 commandments. We get two different sets of 10 commandments. It's why we have changes of name from interchangeably from Yahweh to El Elyon, from El Shaddai. It's why God has like all these different names. Isn't because there's like God actually has all these different names. It's people from these different Canaanite tribes had these different head deities that they worshiped, and they're just trying to kind of bring them all together in their text. It's kind of an idea behind it. So yeah, Abraham and Isaac, Jacob, Moses never existed. The Exodus never happened.
There we go. It's history. We got to explain shit.
Yep.
Let's see. Dad, in the name of Jesus, these men need you see them in their dreams until they see the way. What?
Well, Sophia, come on up. The link's right here, tinyurl.com/on-our-guest. Come on up. We could definitely talk with you. We'd love to talk with you about it.
They
Love to
put
hear
an
your
end
evidence.
quote at the end of their comment, but they didn't put one at the beginning.
Well,
So
that's
confused.
because they're Christian and they don't know how to grammar.
It's so weird. Stop it. Stop it, people.
Ooh, Hetty's interviewing Kristen Cinema. Nice, nice.
Wait, Kristen Cinema?
I probably
As in
mispronounced
like
that last
Senator
name.
Cinema?
Yeah, that's who I think. At least who
That's
I think that
wild.
is.
Is that who that is? A former senator. Okay.
Oh yeah. But Christians that are out there, or any believers, because this is for any deity. Hanji, if you're here, you better get your ass in that box. We gotta talk to you about your deities.
Hey, Kirsten. Oh wait, is
Oh,
Hanji
that's
out
right.
there?
That's right. Kirsten, that is right.
Yes.
No. I'm just saying if Hanji is in here. Hanji, we gotta talk to you. We gotta save you.
Yep. Sorry, Hanj. This is where the rubber meets the road.
What do you mean God loves us? God doesn't love us.
I'm pretty
God's
sure
okay with
they're
slavery.
saying dad, like
Yeah,
Zaddy.
that's goofy. But God is okay with slavery. He's okay with G-side. He's okay with yeah, if you want to come up and try to prove Doug. Listen. I will maintain cyber deconstruction that this account that's over here on the screen. Yeah, it's over there in that corner. That guy believes in Doug. He's a Dougist. Nicholas, Doug is a false god. Doug's a false god. Well, the proof for Doug is only rock solid if the book is true, and it turns out that the book's not true. The book was written by a bunch of my ancestors who are a bunch of goat herders.
Jesus. You're not wrong, but goddamn. Okay, so apparently, according to is this a Jewish study? I don't know what this is. So, weird.
If I can conceive God, then he's real. Checkmate atheists. No, that's not how that works. Not how that works at all. Does that mean Harry Potter's real? Does that agree with Harry Potter then? Harry Potter, somebody conceived Harry Potter, thus Harry Potter's real? Yes, in Doug's Bible, they would be pebble herders. They herd pebbles. How you doing, Autumn? Hey, and by the way, if you saw Autumn in chat, if you're not following Autumn, give Autumn a follow. Autumn is a good friend of mine. I've known Autumn for a while. Give them a follow. They host amazing live. Well, I don't know if they've hosted lives lately, but you'll see them oftentimes paneling and taking the topic, taking and attacking Christians and using their horrible talking points to give against them. And if you do want to join, again, we can accept you through YouTube or TikTok. You do have to go to tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Give that a type. We'll bring you up. Silver Fox, hop in the box. We'd love to chat with you. It's nice to yap, yap, yap in the box, but 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 states that if your faith is being challenged, you must give a defense. And it turns out that Jesus also said, if you deny me, then when it comes to judgment, I will deny you. And we're calling your God imaginary. So hop in the box, come talk to us. We'd love to chat with you.
Yep, come on up. tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Just put in the URL there in your browser and hop on over. You don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. I know that that might freak some people out.
Yeah, and if you just want to ask questions, like this is it. If you have questions about Christ before Jesus, come on up, ask about it. If you have questions about things, ask about it. If you're a Dougist, come on up. Hanji, we're waiting for you to pop up. Hanji's gonna text both of us and be like, "Why are you calling me out like that?"
All right. So this is what I'm gathering really fast from some of the research that I've been doing over here on the side over here. So apparently, so there's this text that says that more or less the name Crestus is well attested among freedmen. It was a name that, like I said before,
Yeah, we'll get him connected anyway.
apparently, according to Cassius Dio, Jews were actually there was a law there in Rome. It says Claudius enacted a decree, according to Cassius Dio, in 41 that forbade.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely not too young.
All right, we got that there. All right, and what faith are you? What God do you worship?
Jesus.
And we're
Christian.
saying he's And we're gonna say he's imaginary. He's
Okay.
in your head.
Okay, that's interesting. What makes you say that?
Oh yeah, there's just no evidence that Jesus exists. Can you provide any?
Yeah, it's the most famous religion of all time.
Would that? I mean, prior to Christianity, wasn't there a most famous religion on the planet before then?
Um,
I mean, obviously, that's how statistics work.
I don't. There's
I mean,
history.
specifically, they were. I mean, even the Exodus itself means that if you believe the Exodus, the Egyptians outnumbered
Like all of
the Jewish
the
people.
major kingdoms of the world had significant interactions with Israel, for example, Babylon, Assyria, Greece, Rome. All of these nations had significant interactions with Judaism, right? So they definitely had, the the
All of what you
Bible has
just
had.
named was over a period of like 500 years.
Yeah, and it's all people that were
Oh,
conquering.
Egypt! I forgot Egypt too.
Yeah, yeah. So just because we have
Well,
like a group that we know existed, we know that there were
yeah, I
groups that
mean the
existed.
people, yeah. That
Well,
doesn't
I
that
think
doesn't
it's
mean their
clear.
religion is correct.
Sorry, what?
Oh, well, that wouldn't mean their religion is correct just because somebody's been around for that long time.
No, but you
I
asked for
mean,
evidence. I think that's like a massive piece of evidence. It might not prove
the
it, but like
existence of people is somehow evidence.
the fact that the Abrahamic God has dominated spiritual life for like all of recorded human history, I think is a very convincing piece of
All of
evidence that there might be
in
something
no way,
to it.
shape, or form has it. I mean, even during like Roman occupation, it wasn't even close to dominating
It literally took over the entire Roman Empire and
in
became the state
380,
religion.
but during Roman occupation during the second temple period, not even close. Like it
So
wasn't like eventually it got really big, but
yeah, like Rome's a bad
The
example,
Abrahamic
bro.
faith was not at all until about 380. It was not the dominating force ever
No, but it
of
still had
in
a
any
very
area, really.
significant impact on Roman culture even before Jesus.
No, no, it
Well,
didn't.
well, and it
In
also
fact, in
There
fact,
was
the other way
there was a lot
around.
of Jews living in Rome at the time of Paul, and all over like the
How would that
Asia.
mean that it has an impact on Rome?
There's tons of Jews living in Rome.
That
That's where
doesn't mean
Paul
it
went
has
and
an
preached.
impact on Rome.
Yeah, it is.
They just people living in Rome. I mean, I
well, let
understand
me
that
ask
like
you.
Yeah, they're
Pastafarians live
reading
in
the
America,
Torah
but
in
that doesn't mean
Rome.
it has any impact on America.
They're
Just because there's
reading
a
a
whole bunch of
Mhm.
people who believe in the flying spaghetti monster, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but the flying spaghetti monster is nowhere near the glory and the fame of Jesus, right? Like that's a ridiculous comparison.
Well, I'm talking about Second Temple Judaism. Jesus didn't exist in the first place. But that being said,
Mhm.
even if he did, I mean, it still wouldn't have an impact on first century Rome.
They were
Like,
literally reading the Torah in Rome in synagogues before Jesus was
you
born.
mean the Jewish people, not like the Romans.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of Romans who were exposed to it, and it
Okay, but
eventually
that
ended
doesn't
up
have
taking
an
over the entire
impact on
kingdom.
Rome. There's plenty of people who are impacted by people who wear, pasta strainers on their head and call themselves Pastafarians. That doesn't
Yeah, like that's
mean
such a
that.
ridiculous argument. Like, oh, like,
No,
oh,
what I'm saying is that just because there's a religion inside an empire or inside a nation, that doesn't mean that the nation has been impacted by that religion.
okay. Well, first of all, let's be clear that like
But
Jesus is the
what evidence do
continuation.
you have
Oh,
that
okay.
the
Go ahead.
government prior to 380 was somehow impacted by the Jewish God?
Well, I mean, so why does it have to wait? Did you say before 380?
Before 380, like once it
Mhm.
becomes the
Why?
official religion,
Why that time period? Because
because that's when it becomes the official
after
religion of
completely
Rome.
shows that you're totally wrong.
No, because that's when it becomes the official religion of Rome. And you're
Mhm.
trying to say that Rome was impacted by it. It wasn't impacted for literally most of the time that the Roman Empire was a thing. And you tried to say that it had been a dominating force. No, it hadn't. Until that point, literally no one had really been dominated by the Abrahamic
It
faith.
took over the entire government, right?
In 380, like, like
Yeah.
near the end of
The entire
Rome.
Roman Empire became Christianized,
Yeah,
and you
near
don't
the
think
end
that's
of
evidence of
Rome.
anything?
Near the end of Rome, that doesn't mean anything.
Right, right.
I
It's not
mean,
evidence at
what
all.
you're trying to say is that it was a dominating force, and I'm saying like not really.
Why don't
Like
you go ahead and take over a
for
culture
literally most of the time,
ideologically? If
for
it's so
literally
easy, why
most of
don't
the
you just
time
go
that the
do it?
Roman Empire had been around, and by the way, the Greeks, and we're just talking about one particular empire. Like literally every empire
Didn't
prior to
Alexander the
them,
Great command the Torah to be translated into Greek? Wasn't he the one who led the Septuagint?
no.
Well, it was definitely the Greeks who, the Greeks definitely valued it enough to create their own Greek translation of it.
That's not
Whoever
how
the
that
Greek
happened at
emperor or
all.
whatever was at the time.
When do you think the Septuagint was actually put together?
Wasn't it like 200 BC or something? Like 300? It was right around when Greece took over Israel. So I think it was Alex the Great. I could look it up. Surely you're an expert, right?
Alexander the
Yeah, it was
Great.
Ptolemy. It was Ptolemy the second.
Okay.
Ptolemy the second wanted it written, and that was only because he was, had a library and he was trying to just collect as much information as he could. So he commissioned the Septuagint to be written
Yeah,
because
that
he
was like
wanted to.
that was a pretty tall task at the time. He must have valued the information, hey? I wonder why you don't.
Oh, he was just trying to collect information. He had some
But it's
other
such
things that were
obvious garbage,
translated
so why would he
too.
why would he waste his time if it's such obvious garbage like you guys think?
Oh,
Well, he
because
obviously
people
had other
still
books as
believed
well.
it.
I guess he's
Yeah.
just dumb, right?
Mhm.
Well, I
What a
mean, he
big
also
dummy.
had other books that you would consider to be incorrect, especially on other religions such as Heracles or Zeus. But okay, fine, fair enough. He has a book and he thinks that keeping books is a good idea. I would stress the same point. I
But he
would say
actually
that
spent a
we should
lot of
probably keep it.
time and money to create a book. He didn't just keep a book. He
He
made
didn't
a book.
create a book, he just had it translated. It was already
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Yeah, I'll just snap my fingers and translate it. It's so easy, right?
Hold on. Do you think do you think he just had things translated that he agreed with?
I don't know.
No, he didn't. Like, if there were writings, he sought to build the greatest building for knowledge of information. He wanted people to come from all over the known world to be able to do this. He was essentially making like the first ever equivalent to today would be like Google. So you could go there and look at whatever. So if there were people that were Jewish, they'd be able to go there because we have a time period where the Jews who are not in Judea are starting to become extremely Hellenized, right? It's the whole reason why we have a whole Maccabean revolt. They're becoming Hellenized, and a lot of people are beginning to forget the Hebrew. By antiquity, Hebrew as a language was dead, right? They were speaking Aramaic. They weren't even speaking Hebrew anymore. It was Aramaic. And so he took these writings that were written in Hebrew and he valued preserving the writing so much, just any writing, because he saw that Hebrew was dying out, that he had it translated. It's not because he saw like any great value in the writing itself. He just knew that people might find value in this.
Is he talking?
I don't hear him. Are
Maybe.
you are you there?
Can
He's
anybody
not
hear him?
muted.
I didn't mute him. He's still here.
Though, yeah, he's still there.
I don't know what happened. We have another guest, by the way. There's someone else. It looks like they're coming up.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. So Jordan, come back up when you get some better talking points. Go ahead and move.
I don't know what was going on there.
And this is Yep. What's your name, real quick? Don't give me your actual name if you don't want to. But what's a name that I can we can call you by? All right. So, we and how old are you again?
I'm 26.
And what faith do you worship, or what gods do you worship?
I worship the Christian one.
All right. Well, I'm Cyber. This is Christ before Jesus. Your God is imaginary. What's your strongest argument that we'll go with Jesus, that Jesus actually existed?
Oh, I have a general argument for the existence of God.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I present it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Do you want me to like go over the whole thing and then you come back and like pick out like the premises or?
Oh yeah, give me the premises.
Okay, sure. The universe space-time began to exist. Science backs this up by cosmic microwave background radiation, the second law of thermodynamics, redshift in galaxies, even the Borgu-Lincoln theorem. Premise 2: if the universe had no
Oh, I
beginning.
disagree with premise 1.
Okay.
I disagree
why
with
do you
Yeah,
premise
disagree?
1.
already we're off to a rocky start there.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reason why I'll disagree with premise 1 is due to the DESI study, which is a study that's been going on for about the last 6 years. It shows that the dark energy is starting to slow down. It also shows again that the universe has probably always existed, that it's cyclic, that goes through a series of big bangs and big crunches, and thus the universe has just always existed. It never began, it's always been.
Yeah, so even in that sense, since it goes through like crunches, we could understand that the universe is going through contractions, meaning that space and time is like it once was in this state and it expands into this state, right? So this is just like
Mhm.
so I guess like we're going towards like a beginning in the sense of the expansion, but that's actually in my premise too. So if the universe had no beginning and we're eternally oscillating through big crunch cycles, the second law of thermodynamics would imply a buildup of entropy, eventually resulting in a heat death, which is just it's a thermodynamic equilibrium. They would say.
So the issue that you're going to run into is that the second law of thermodynamics only applies in a closed system. We don't know if the universe is a closed system. And second, we have no reason to not believe that if the universe does go through a crunch, that would affect the entropy. Um, and this is something that, again, if you go look at this DESI study, if you go read what physicists say, so there's no reason to believe that a heat death would apply if the universe does go through a big crunch.
Oh, so yeah, the universe is a closed system. Actually, you could look this up because due to the fact that it's expanding, all the
Oh,
energy that's within.
hold on, what physicists agree that it's a closed system?
I'm not sure, but science actually holds that the universe in itself is a closed system. You could actually look this up. Um, because obviously all the energy that's contained within the universe, it's that no energy comes in or goes out. That would actually like I think that would like
Hold on, it's
violate
considered an
that.
isolated system, not a closed one. Hold on. There
Sorry,
is
go
there
ahead.
is nobody that says that it's a closed system. They'll say it's isolated, not closed. But good try though.
Well, what's the difference between an isolated system and a closed one?
Yeah, isolated just means that it's by itself. Closed means like there's something for lack of a better term would be like a dome or something that's keeping things contained in. So yeah, it's just not a
Right.
closed system.
Right. So energy doesn't even come in or go out. Do you agree with that?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We
No,
have no way to know because we don't even know what the edge of the universe is. We've never seen the edge of the universe, so we don't know. But what I'm saying though is that we don't know if it's I'm not going to say it's not a closed system, but we don't know if it's a closed system. It's unknowable to us at this point in time. So it could be the case. Now, if it turns out to be a closed system, then yeah, the second law of thermodynamics is definitely an issue. However, if it is the case that it's not closed, then we have no worries about the second law of thermodynamics, and we
So would
just
you
don't
say?
know.
Okay. So are you implying that entropy resets?
Am I
Because,
implying that entropy resets?
like, for example, like you know, obviously things get more disordered or chaotic over time. Obviously, there's irreversible processes in which, you know, entropy like goes from, you know, low entropy to, you know, disorder. But with each cycle, are
Mhm.
you saying that it resets the entropy? Because obviously what we understand through like that stuff is that it would get more chaotic or random over time. Eventually it's going to fall into a thermodynamic equilibrium. So I don't like, even then, like it would still apply that that standard is there, that it would reach to a heat death.
Well, no, because the only because so again, if it contracts, it'll go back to its small state, right? Again, do you know what scientists, what the consensus is, as far as what they believe the size of the universe was at its most smallest state?
I don't have information on that.
Yeah, they believe it was about the size of a human body, right? So that's what the science kind of points to. That's what they believe. We don't know what that looked like, but they believe it was about the size of a human body, and then it, rapidly expanded. So if it does go small, right, we don't have the issue with the heat death anymore, right? That doesn't become an issue anymore because again, it goes back to that smaller state, and then it'll be able to expand again because we have all that contraction of the energy. Second
Okay.
is, in order for us to say that the universe could be any other way, we would need another universe to compare it to. We don't have another universe to compare it to. So it is the case that the way this universe is the only way it could have been. We just don't know yet, right? Well, we don't know. We'll never know because we'll be long gone when this big crunch happens. Um, so
Okay.
yeah, it just is the case that we don't know what the role entropy does. So it's just a non sequitur in
Well,
this argument.
well, well, we can agree to disagree because I do believe that science entails that the universe is a closed system, but we could just agree to disagree there. There's
Yeah,
actually a
give me the
second major.
science. Yeah, hold on. Give me the
Yeah.
scientist. I mean, I'll give you a few minutes. Give me the scientists that are going to say that definitively the universe is a closed system.
Okay, hold on one second. I have to. I don't know if like it's gonna like exit me out, but I have to go on like, you know, search it up.
Yeah,
As long as you
because
keep your
you're in a
browser
web
open.
browser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. All right, hold on one second.
I wonder if the human-sized universe at its smallest point, uh, I wonder if it has anything to do with something with a human-shaped body on Kolob.
Right. Well, luckily there was a study that Blitz has posted. And let me go see if I can find this. So they did a
I'm back. Can you hear me?
yep, I can hear you.
One scientist would be Stephen Hawking. I have to go and look up the other one.
Right, what does
Roger
Stephen Hawking
Penrose.
say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can
What
you
does
hear
Stephen
me? Uh, but I can't like tell you what specifically does he say, but it does say that he entailed it. Also, Roger Penrose and Alexander Vilenkin.
let's
But
see
it
here.
widely scientific um it's widely like a known thing to be
So do you
accepted
know
within
what
the
Stephen
scientific
Hawking
universe.
hold on, do you know what Stephen Hawking's last view was before he passed away?
What was his last view? I don't know.
He got rid of, yeah, he initially considered it a closed system and he thought it was a four-dimensional but then his later views, he stated that he had came up with what's called a no boundary proposal, which is where we get the idea that it's isolated, but it's not a closed system. So he got rid of his closed system ideas. Later science came out.
Well, the no boundary proposal entails a beginning. It doesn't. The no boundary proposal is different from the cyclic model.
Wait, say that again.
the no boundary proposal is different than the cyclic model, because the no boundary proposal, as a matter of fact, let me actually see if I can. The no boundary proposal, it does state it has a beginning, but like it's not like a known beginning, like as we know it, like a true beginning, like space time coming into being, but like it's like flat. You know what I mean? Like the beginning is like it's kind of flatline, but then obviously he believes that space and time emerged from like a quantum state. So he does believe in a beginning.
Mhm.
He did. I wouldn't say that it's the same thing as a cyclic model. So that's what the no boundary proposal entails. But I could go over that if you want to talk about that. But
Well, yeah, but sorry, but he no longer stated. As a matter of fact, there is a paper here where it states until recently, Hawkins firmly believed that the universe was closed. In other words, space-time fabric in the universe of time is likely a sphere, only in 4 dimensions. A spherical universe starts with the Big Bang, expands to a maximum point, then starts contracting again. But then he later changed it because he actually believed that it initially also came from nothing. But as more science came through and they came to a realization that there was probably nothing before, he changed his view on it.
okay, so he went back to the cyclic model.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So and he said that in his last, you said like in his last moments, he started to believe that it's an open system.
Well, as he was
But
presented
I
with
don't see
more
the
evidence,
I don't see the difference between an isolated system and a closed system, because an isolated system would just entail all the energy within the system, right? There's no real difference. I mean, I could try to look it up if there's a difference.
I mean, you could, but he definitely didn't believe it was a closed system, though. At the end of his life, he changed his stance on it. And in fact, if you ever read a lot of what Hawking said, there's a lot of things that he said that vehemently disagreed with Einstein. He wasn't a fan of Einstein. He disagreed with Einstein on a lot of things.
Yeah. Let me see something. I'm off the thing, so I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Yeah. It's not even bringing me up anything. Did Stephen Hawking believe the universe is an isolated system, an open system? 1 second. Bro, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties right now. Hold on 1 second.
In fact, we do have where Klaus and Zillinger received a Nobel Peace Prize in 2022 for quantum entanglement, and quantum entanglement requires that the universe not be closed. And as we study more and more into quantum mechanics, you get this idea of a potential multiverse and different things like that. And in fact, Stephen Hawking's, I'm looking at this now, his final view was just that the universe was a holographic universe, that it was a hologram with information being encoded on a 2D surface, and which implies an open and perhaps infinite universe. That was Stephen Hawking's final view. We got Jaren's hippie Jesus on the TikTok stream.
What?
There's a Jaren's hippie Jesus. Jaron, you've been hanging out with hippie Jesus again.
Hippie Jesus sucks. All you liberal ass cucks. uh,
Yeah, and then the Casimir effect also demonstrates a non-closed system. Thank you, Tenebris. Like, we've got all this evidence that's just not a closed system. Now, with that said, am I going to say that it's not a closed system? I don't know. I don't know. The evidence seems to point that it's not closed, but we're not able to look at the edges of the universe, so we just don't know. But evidence seems to point that it's no longer, that the idea that it's closed is no more. Just waiting for him to come back. I'm actually going to look up the Casimir effect. I'm not too familiar with it. Oh, it's a quantum phenomenon where two uncharged, perfectly conducting plates held closely together experience an attractive force. An experience from quantum fluctuations of the electromagnetic field between the plates, creating pressure imbalance that pulls them together. In essence, it's a force from nothing. See, that's why we're friends with Tenebris on YouTube.
no, nice.
I don't know if guest ran. We're just not hearing from
Are
Tier
they-
anymore.
I'm not sure.
He's
Tier,
still there.
Tier, are you
He's
still there?
Hear the guess in both ears. I did some research into that and I did some tinkering. So hopefully you can hear the guess in both ears instead of just one. Tier got his back absolutely blown the frack out, and now he's like, I'm just gonna wait till they disconnect me. Well, we'll leave him up here. But watching online right now, and how many do we have on TikTok right now? I'm not sure, but however many people are watching on TikTok. If you disagree, if you have a view, we don't care if it's the Abrahamic God. We don't care if you believe in the flying spaghetti monster. We don't care if you believe in the Nordic god. Your gods, all of them, every single one of them, even those of you who worship Doug, your gods are imaginary. Hop in the box, tinyurl.com/RNR guest. Hop in the box. We would love to talk with you about it. Yes, Kaisak, even Doug. Look. I know this is Rocky, right? I know on my channel we got Rocky as an emote if you're a subscriber. This is a rock I stubbed my toe on and I super glued googly eyes on him. I literally just super glued googly eyes on him. Cheese exists. Thank you. Go look in your fridge. It crashed. It didn't disconnect. Come back in. Tier, if you come back in, we'll bring you back up. So Mormons believe in the Trinity, but they believe the Trinity to be three distinct individuals. So there is God, who's a person, Jesus, who's a person, and the Holy Ghost. They're a person, and they view God as like a title. So think of it like the term dad or priest. There are many priests all over the world. Jaren, you gotta learn how to write backwards. You can't just flip it upside down. Hold on, let me try something though. Put it back up. I'm going to see if I can flip your camera around.
I might
There,
be
you
able
should.
to do it. No, here, I think I can do it over on my end. Let's see.
Man, we got Chris. Chris is saying, don't blaspheme Doug, please. Hop in the box. We'd love to chat with you about it. I'd love to tell you why your belief in Doug is wrong. It's blasphemy. There you go.
There it is. America.
There it is. We don't got to explain shit. So yeah, he's not coming back. We've invited him back. There's no reason why he's not coming back.
Out of the window on your browser too long, that maybe could go off. I think that may have happened to the last guest.
You know what? I'm going to put that to the test. I'm going to stay out of the window. I'm going to be on a Bible window right now. Yes, the heat death got him. He definitely felt the heat death. It is started. Hold on to your butts. So it is the case. So I was reading today. There is a possibility that within they don't know when, but there seems to be a few asteroids that seem to be hiding behind Venus. And it's just because of the way Venus orbits, we're not able to see them. But they know there's like 2 to 3 asteroids around Venus. And what they have noticed is that depending on where Mercury is at and where Jupiter is at, Jupiter is big enough where it has an effect on Mercury. And with it having an effect on Mercury, it has an effect on Venus. It may potentially have an effect on these asteroids. And it is the case that, like, these asteroids could end up being hurled at us, but given the way they are hidden behind Venus, our detections for meteorites may not be able to detect them. So if they do impact the Earth, they're going to have like World War II atom explosions effects if these hit us. So let's just hope maybe it'll find a Schnazi compound and hit them.
Hopefully.
Doug is ambivalent to blasphemy.
So,
Or maybe Florida. If it was to hit, a certain Cheetos residents in Florida, I'd be okay with that too. Cyber is Doug's son. Yes, Cyber is Doug. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna I gotta fix this real quick. Hold on.
So really quick, get this. So there's this letter that was sent from Claudius. You know how Crestus there could either be it could be it could be just a name, or it could be a connection with it could be a connection with Serapis. So Crestus, like Crestus, it seems, or Christians, that kind of thing, or Jesus the Crest, uh, seems to be the term that is being used by the Marcionites. The one of the oldest inscriptions before we saw the Megiddo mosaic,
Hmm.
the oldest inscription of Jesus's name in stone, dated to about 318 in Deir Ali, Syria. And it was from an archway in a Marcionite church that called him Jesus the Crest. So obviously, we know the
Interesting.
connection. Well, we know the connection between Crest. So now we have a little bit of a connection between Crest and Marcionism. And we have the connection between Marcionism, the unknown god, Serapis, Sinope, all that kind of stuff. Where is the other city that Serapis is being worshipped primarily? Other than Sinope, where is it at?
Um,
It's in Egypt.
yeah, as I was gonna say. Yeah, well, yeah, it was in Egypt. Well, I
In
mean, it was, yeah,
Alexandria.
yeah, it would be, yeah, yeah, because that's
So
where the Ptolemies brought it to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, yes. So Ptolemy brings it down from Sinope to Alexandria. We have that letter from Hadrian, which I get it has a spurious past, or like it's found in a bit of a spurious document, but it's still or collection. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense that anybody would put this connection together unless they were hot on the trails of this. And there hasn't been a lot of evidence that that's been the case. So it must, in my opinion, it's legit. But he says that the Christians down in Alexandria worship Serapis. All right. So here's where it gets even crazier. So you know how we have the Claudius expels the Jews from Rome in the like early 50s, late 40s, somewhere around there. I believe it's the 50s, but it's around this particular time. All right. This is mentioned by Suetonius. Remember? Oh, can't hear you. There you go.
Yes,
There you go.
yes.
So there is a letter that we have from Claudius to Alexandria. And it explains that there are in the last paragraph it says riots and feuds with the Jews. And he calls he says that there is a bunch of issues that they're having, and they said I will by all means take vengeance on them, as fomenters of which is a general plague infecting the whole world. In other words, he is having a massive issue apparently with some Jewish people. This shows that this connection, this expulsion from Rome under Claudius has nothing to do with Jesus. So this Crestus must be someone else. Suetonius does not. Suetonius does not, according to a text that I'm reading here. This is from, who is this from? This is from John Collins at Yale University and Florentino Martinez from the University of Groningen and from the Qumran Institute. Their book on this, or paper on this topic on Jewish community in Rome from the 2nd century BCE to the 3rd century CE, it mentions that if Suetonius typically would use like a adjective to describe someone if they were previously unknown. So Crestus, he doesn't use anything for. So very clearly, Crestus is something that they would have known. But they point out that if it's Christianity, that doesn't make a lot of sense because Christianity would have, according to their view at least, it still would have been over in, or by Christian timeline at least, it still would have been over in Judea, and it wouldn't have made its way to Rome yet. Whenever this is happening, so this is a Crestus that is apparently known, just like Pliny writes about a Christus who was apparently known, and we have people being kicked out of Rome by Claudius, and Claudius had explained that he was having problems with these people in a letter to Alexandria, where all of this is being connected to Serapis. So, I mean, it seems that there's more or less some kind of an issue that certain people are causing, riots that they're causing, disturbances that they're causing, and that Crestus may very well just be the name that they're giving Christ. Sorry, the name that they're giving Serapis.
Makes sense. Well, and it would too, because if it is a case where like Serapis is this syncretic god that is spreading, what we do know with gods is when they spread from culture to culture, their names change. We see this with the Greek gods and the Roman gods. We see this in the Tanakh. We even see that with Christianity today, where like Jesus was never like a term used in the Bible. We just had the nomina sacra and we just assigned a name essentially. And then later on, uh, church writing started using the name Jesus. So yeah, it's just interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, if that Hadrian letter is to be believed, it straight up says those who worship Serapis are Christians, and those who call themselves bishops of Christ are vowed to Serapis. I mean,
So
that
that's
would pretty
valid
much be,
then.
I mean, it would, yeah, if that's the case, then that's, I mean, that would be the nail in the coffin. Christ is more or less just it's just a Serapis. Christ and Serapis is Christ, Christ is Serapis. That would be the connection there.
Jaron, can I just get a
Wow.
cyber? I know you told me this a few months ago, and I apologize.
What? What? The whole the
I'm ki-
Serapis is crisis? What?
yeah, I'm just messing with
Oh,
you,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. So, oh, absolutely. Well, I couldn't remember if it was you or Hanji who said it, but if it was you, definitely. Thank you very, very much. I mean, this was a connection that we had been talking about for some time. It's just
yes.
there's just not enough, in my opinion, to really nail down the synonym of
That's fair. That's
Crescent
fair.
and Serapis early on. We started to see that with Pliny around that time, around the rise of Christianity. But I mean, I was just waiting for something that would connect both this term crest and more of a connection to like Serapis down in like Alexandria. But yes, you are correct. I I apologize. I should have listened to you from the get go months ago.
Yeah, no, how it started was I had remembered again, Liberty, you go through like this apologetics class, and they had they had kind of mentioned where they were like, hey, you're gonna hear about this Serapis guy, and they're gonna bring up this Hadrian letter, and it's fraudulent. And I remember that. And so I did a deep dive on it in school, and I just remember studying that um Octavian Augustus, Caesar Augustus, nephew to Julius Caesar. He's the first like real emperor of Rome. He banned Serapis worship. And if Serapis worship is banned in at least Rome, then this gives reason for these people to one, not only jump into mystery cults, but to leave Rome, right? Um, and then again, depending on the emperors, because the ban on Serapis was never lifted up, but what we see are different emperors are more strict or more loose with the laws. So we see a case where Serapis, certain emperors are saying, leave it alone. We don't care. Other emperors are like, no, absolutely. Like, come down on it. Um, and so it's just going to be dependent on what's going on. But the biggest issue that we get to with the Hadrian letter is a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's fraudulent. Well, we don't know if it's fraudulent or not. It is the case that the book that these letters had been collected in, some, not all, some of those letters have been known to be fraudulent. Some of them are. But it's the case that somebody had just collected a bunch of letters and stuck them in a book, right? And that's where we get these letters, and the one that Jaren was mentioning from Emperor Hadrian. Um, and so a lot of people will say, well, some of the letters in there, some of the writings in there, we know are fake, and we absolutely do. But that doesn't mean every writing in there is fake. It could be the case, and it seems to be now, that this Hadrian letter might be legit, might be authentic,
Oh yeah.
and this would just give credence to that.
Oh, absolutely. I would say that the biggest reason why the Hadrian letter is to be believed as authentic would simply be because it the alternative is that someone faked a letter that made a connection between Serapis and Christians randomly. Either but outside of what we have found here recently, I don't really know who would have been making that connection or why so long ago. Like it just seems odd that they would. Like it just seems weird. Um it it's just a very random cult or very random god to just as, assign Christian beliefs to.
Mhm.
And upon further reading, because I know a lot of people will read the Hadrian letter and assume that that means all Christians, when Hadrian is writing, is they worship Serapis. It seems as if what he's saying is that the Christians in Alexandria worship Serapis, but he
Mhm.
makes a connection between Jews and Christians up in like the more northern part. He doesn't say that they worship Jesus per se, but he puts Jews and Christians in the same kind of boat, which could be because there were maybe some Jewish people who were already starting to go off and worship Serapis, which is, maybe the connection that he has there with. Actually, now that you think about it, that actually makes a lot of sense. That there'd be Jewish people and worshippers of Serapis over in like Rome and whatnot. So he would have already known about that since they had been kicked out. It's a good point, actually.
This makes
But
sense.
I
But
just
we
don't know
got
if they call themselves
15
Christians quite yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. But we got about 20 minutes left in this live. I'm switching my hat up. I'm gonna go to a taco hat.
Taco hat. Is it taco time?
It is taco time. We're in the last 20 minutes of the live, and these hats are courtesy of Joe. And I do need to do a shout out real quick. I have a new mic coming in. I had a mic that was donated to me.
Oh, nice.
And so it was by a TTV Atheist Gamer. They do stream their games on both Twitch and YouTube. So again, it's atheist_gamer6.
Nice.
So I don't have it yet. I should be receiving it tomorrow. I might need to buy a boom for it because I don't got a boom. I'm using like
What
this
mic you
little
getting? What is it?
flexible thing. It is. I'll have to go look it up. It was. I had a selection of a few different mics. And the one. Let me look at the one that I selected. What it's actually called. Now it's nothing. It's nothing fancy. Nothing like that. It was something that he was just willing to donate, and so it is going to be a Aver Media live stream mic 330. So that's going to be my
Nice,
new
nice.
mic. He donated it to me. I appreciate it. Um we'll see how that goes. One of the issues that I have with my current mic is My mic receives sound from all around. And so if I have like if I had my phone turned on right now, you all would be hearing it. And hopefully with this mic, since it's unidirectional and I can turn the back off, I could have like my sound on my phone on and you all wouldn't hear it theoretically. Um
Theoretically.
yeah, theoretically. But it's media, we're in 2025 and sometimes technology sucks. But if you do see Atheist Gamer in any lives, um, give him a thank you. Give him a thank you for me. I'd appreciate it.
Let's see. I didn't even see the taco. Oh yeah, it's taco time.
And we haven't had anybody come back up. And again, if you like the stream, hop over onto YouTube, give us a follow on YouTube. If you're on give us a subscription, subscription on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, jump over to YouTube real fast, cuz if you're on TikTok, I know you guys watch YouTube. Hop over to YouTube, give us a subscription over there. And if you're on YouTube and you have TikTok, give us a follow on TikTok. If you do want to support us even more, what we need to do is we need to get to 1,000 followers. Our goal is to reach 1,000 followers. And as we do these, we'll eventually reach our watch hours. But once we get monetized, then it'll make it easier for us to interact with you, because you'll be able to send us super chats and those will pop up. Um, and the super chats will definitely be read off online. We'll read off each and every one of those. If you send any memberships, we'll read each and or we'll call those out. But these are ways to better help support us. Um, Yeah, these taco hats are courtesy of Joe. So if you see Joe in either of the chats, I Joe also bought me a moose hat, and I have no idea where it disappeared off to.
Did you open it, or are you saying that it like disappeared in the mail?
I've worn it. No, I've worn it a few times. Jaron, I've
Oh,
worn it
okay.
on your live. Go watch your past podcasts.
I don't watch things. I don't like hearing my voice.
Me either. That's the weird thing, is I don't like hearing my voice either, because it's like you grow up hearing your voice, right? And
Right.
so you have this idea of what your voice sounds like. But when we hear our voice, we're hearing it because of vibrations through our jawbone that connects to our ear. But when you hear your voice in like real life, you're like, what the frack was that?
I don't mind my singing voice. I just don't like my speaking voice. Like my singing voice is fine. I don't give a shit. I've heard myself sing enough because I've had to like hear
You
it back and stuff like that. But like, I don't really play back things where I talk a lot.
maybe that's something we could do. I don't know. I'll talk with you offline, Jaron. But
Sing,
maybe we will do.
start a
Yeah,
band.
maybe we'll. Yeah, well, we'll start a band. We'll call it the Non-Singers. I'm not a musician, as a matter of fact. So let me show you this instrument I have that I eventually intend on learning how to play, but I don't know. But let me go grab it real quick.
All right, guys. So Cyber is away from his computer. So at this point, we're going to start talking about sports again, because that's just what we do whenever he walks away. He's not paying any attention. So who do you guys got in the finals? NBA finals, Thunder or Pacers? I want to see it in the chat. Thunder or Pacers? What do we got? Oh my God! What is that? A dulcimer?
It's
The
called
hell
a
is that?
hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, it's a hurdy-gurdy. So this is actually. So I had this one custom made from a musician in Ukraine. So this is custom made for me. But yeah, so it's a hurdy-gurdy. It's like a wheel. So it has a wheel here. We turn a key, and then you play these
Oh,
keys like a piano.
that is the most BioShock Infinite sounding instrument I've ever heard in my life. That sounds like something straight out of Dishonored or something.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, if you want to watch a video of the guy who made this for me on my luthier, I have a hard time pronouncing his name. But you can go watch. As a matter of fact, we could. I'll try to see if maybe we can share.
What? Does I'm asking.
Bottom keys, so those are like your white keys. These top keys are your black keys.
Well, give it a whirl.
Oh, I don't. I'd have to get set up to hold the strap because there's a whole way you have to like hold it and set it, and I'm not set up for that. Or I
Well,
would.
whenever you
I
get your
definitely
hurly-girly
would.
strap-on just are you talking? Yeah. That's what.
All right, let me see if I can get this added. I don't know if it'll let me show the audio. See if we can get this going. See if it'll let us do the audio for it.
That looks intense.
So I gotta get this copied. Let me know if you all can hear the audio once it starts playing. I don't know
Are you gonna
if
show the
you
video?
guys, yeah, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear the audio, but this is essentially what the hurdy-gurdy is. Get this opened up. We'll make this bigger so you guys can see it. Can
Yeah.
Hurdy-gurdy.
So you need to learn that stat.
Well, like I said, if we reach our metrics, I am willing to learn.
That's pretty dope. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. That's awesome.
So, I apologize. I don't know how screen sharing works with things, and somebody that we probably won't be seeing here either.
Spanky.
Spanky will not be making any appearances. He only likes making appearances on CBJ and My Lives. So
He can keep his little monkey ass away from CBJ is all I'm saying. Ridiculous.
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh. A window, it brings up like a window over there, like there's somebody in Video Ninja. So I got excited for a minute, and then I realized it was just my window, and I was
It's
like,
just your hurdy-gurdy. Yeah. Yeah, well, Onu Hats, I just got out of the shower. Oh, nice. Are you gonna come up and share that with us as well? Is that a dude or a chick? Oh, it's a chick. Now I feel bad. If it was a dude, I
I'm
wouldn't
okay
mind.
with either.
I wouldn't have minded. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just messing with some dude.
So yeah, so the way you wear a hurdy-gurdy is, and this one also has, it's electronic, so it has amps built into it as well. But you've got these pins here and here, so you wear it around your waist like a belt. And it's like the best way to describe it is, and especially with the way Gordy went with designing it, is he designs his to have kind of like the body like a violin.
Mhm.
So he designs it like a violin. Um, and it's like a willed violin, but instead of using your fingers to press the strings, you use piano keys or you use keys. You use keys.
It's still it's a cool concept. I'm not gonna lie. It's like I don't know, like an accordion guitar, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wanna learn it. But if we reach our metrics, right? Again, 1,000 followers and our watch hours, I will I will play a song on it. I can't guarantee it'll be the greatest, but I'll play a song on it. Jaren will put something together. And
We'll have some kind of special episode, I'm sure.
yeah.
Now, next episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drinking whiskey and talking
Mhm.
about conspiracies.
Yes, we can definitely do that next live. We'll talk about conspiracy theories. So if you know anybody or if you have your own conspiracy theories, come on up next week. We'd love to chat with you about it. Our at least I can't speak for Jen. My cowboy hat's going to have tinfoil on it, so we'll have our tinfoil cowboy hats. And we'll have some whiskey with you all, and we'll join it with you. We'll be sure to let Mocha Pine know.
Good old Mogo Pine. He's funny.
Look. I may or may not have taken a look at his profile there when he came on my live last time, and the
Mhm.
first few things that popped up seemed to be that he was following seemed to be underage. So I may have made some remarks according to that, but upon further review of it, it is the case that's not the case. I apologize for it. But on one of my lives, I definitely called him out on it. So I don't know if he will talk to me anymore. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Um,
Uh, he's funny because like he showed up on my live because he knew that I was talking numbers and whatnot to some extent. And we're dealing with numbers and math and everything. And so he's like, ooh, numbers and math. Like, that's my thing. And so he starts talking, and I'm like, no, no. Like, that's like somebody learning to count and then going up to like a mathematician or something. And it's like, no, we're not using number. Yes, we are dealing with numbers, but we're not using them in the same way. I'm not saying that I'm smarter than the guy. I'm saying that it's just no. What he's talking about has nothing to do with stilometry at all. And stilometry is just in a completely different ballpark.
well, Mike, his argument for like it is the case that yes, there was a change to the Jewish calendar, but it wasn't like they looked at things and did this big, huge revolutionary change. It was just that as science and stuff became known better, somebody came to the realization that hey, we can ensure that this calendar is more accurate to what it should be. And so they made some changes to it to ensure that it was accurate to what the Torah said it should be. It's not like they completely like took the old calendar and threw it away. Um, and he acts like that's what happened. And he uses this weird website that like he and one other person use, and it's like weird.
It's magic. I ain't gotta
It
explain
is.
shit.
And at the end of this live, we're probably going to be wrapping it up here shortly. But I'm going to say, normally I'm a traditionalist. I don't like to try new things. Like one of my biggest things is I hate trying new things. Like, and if you give me food, like if you give me food and you didn't season it or anything, I'm just not going to say nothing about it, right? I'm just going to eat it and not say anything about it because I don't care, right? Like I don't sit there and be like, oh, you spice this to perfection. Like I don't know, it just doesn't matter to me. But with that, I'm kind of weird when it comes to trying new things. So I had this grape monster the beast drink in my fridge, And for the longest time, like my thing is just the plain green monster, or I'll buy like the monster like in the European cans. But when it comes to like flavored monsters, I'm like extremely hesitant. But I've tried an orange one and the grape, and they're good. They're good. So don't be afraid to try new things.
Yep. You heard it here first, folks, on R&R. Cyber is now a dedicated grapist. That is what he has decided to go with now. Um,
And Jaren has been muted.
he used to be a monster. He's no longer a monster. He is now a grapist.
And I think we need to come up with a catchphrase. Bob Barker had the, spay your cats and dogs. So I don't know.
Spay and neuter your parents.
Yeah, spay and neuter your parents. Spay and neuter Republicans.
Oh my god.
So yeah, if you know any Republicans, take them into your local vet, get them spayed and neutered. Um,
Oh my god. You know what?
and with
Speaking as a card carrier myself, go ahead and do that to the Democrats as well, and just let us on the actual left run the show.
you know what, I agree. I agree. Look, if you're just if you're just like a liberal, if you're just a liberal, centrist or Republican, just take yourself into your newest vet, get yourself spayed and neutered, come join us as a leftist, become a leftist. That's where we need you to be.
There we go. There we go.
Like where you think like Joe Biden was, where you think Vice President Harris was, take like cross that leftist line and then continue for like 30 paces.
Yeah.
But yes, Tenebris says it right. Jesus is a no-show again.
Yeah,
So
we're
yeah,
trying to
I'll make
host
up a
it for
background
Jesus.
next week.
Yeah, we want
Yeah.
Jesus to show up. That would be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate like guest is Jesus comes in and he's like, "Yo, heard you guys were talking shit." I'd be like, "Okay, cool. Let's dive into this."
Jesus shows up on Justin's live to talk about messianic prophecies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's like, "You got me there. I didn't get that one. I was trying my best to get that one, but this other one I kind of pulled off. I saw something about a donkey, decided to go ahead and I just had my dudes just go steal a donkey and whatnot. They actually did it. I didn't think they would do it.
Yeah, it's like, so it is the case that I tried to convince Matthew to actually like not write that in, but Matthew said, "Nah, bro, I gotta help you out." Oh man, Miss Michelle's internet went out and we're ending the live.
Hmm?
Yeah. Can you prove? Comes up, Jesus shows up on CBJ. Yeah. So yeah, I know you're here now, Jaren. So yeah, you're here now, but can you prove you were here 2,000 years ago? Go ahead.
Let's see. DSA. Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to their newsletter, but I am officially. I am a part of the third group there. As an answer to your question, Ari. I'm a part of the third group in their DFW branch. Anyways, he pulls up a selfie with
So
him
what?
and John the Baptist.
Right. This is my cousin.
Yeah, we go way back. I don't know why he was doubting that I was the Messiah at a certain point. He saw me walk on water in the bathtub.
Right, right. Yeah, his mother Elizabeth tried to put me in there and I just floated on top. They had to like take the water and pour it on me.
Taking a
So
Jesus
anyways, we're
in there
gonna
just
call it
walking all over. Taking a bath in wine. You
Jesus.
come back and it's just wine in the bathtub.
Right. Once upon a time, we were really struggling financially, and if you wouldn't know it, this guy turned all the all the extra bread into cheese, turned it into cheese, and then into fish.
Jesus
In
is the
fact, he was
worst.
so in fact, he was so wild that when our mothers went to the mikvah, because women after their
Yeah.
visit from Aunt Flo, they got to go do a mikvah. He thought it'd be hilarious to turn the water into blood. He thought it'd be hilarious.
And it was, but at the same time, it was messed up.
Yeah, nobody
Uh,
talked to our moms for like a month after that. Like, if you're so bad that you turn the mikvah into blood.
I'm not even going to bring up the time that he totally pushed that kid off the roof and told him that he shouldn't say anything.
Right, right.
All
Man,
right.
imagine if like these apocrypha texts turn out to be true.
They're the true ones. The rest of it,
We
absolute bullshit.
we get Jesus up there. I am the Messiah. Kick.
Kicks him off the roof. That'd be awesome.
Anyways, with that said, you all have a fantastic evening. Make sure you follow our main accounts, Christ Before Jesus, Cyber Deconstruction, and also send this out to your friends and family. Notify them. Have them come up for some good discussions. If you have some friends that are maybe teetering on whether or not, like maybe they're atheists already, but they're struggling with whether or not Jesus existed or not, or Paul, send them over to Jaron, have him come over on his lives. Definitely talk about Christ Before Jesus. Go ahead and get his book, give it a read. It's a good read. Go to Richard Carrier's blog, send him a few middle fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, do that. That sounds great.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
I think
don't
Double Donkey put it right. This is Nazareth.
Boop. And then he actually falls and he's like, no. I didn't push you, right?
Right.
No, come on. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Just clean it up. Clean it up. Mom's coming.
Anyways, with that said, you all have a fantastic evening, and you got anything else to say, Jaron?
Vi ses imorgon. Vi ses imorgon. Vi ses imorgon om klockan 10. Klockan 10.
And tonight we're gonna figure out who we're gonna like. I'm kidding. Maybe that's something we'll start later. We'll find out who we like. They're gonna come up on panel, and you're just gonna throw them gifts the entire time.
Hey, that doesn't sound too terribly bad. You go over to Christ Before Jesus and get told that they hate you. Over to Reason and
Get
Rebellion and
tomatoes
get
thrown
told that
at
you
ya.
like you. It's weird.
Anyways, you'll have a fantastic evening.